Okay, lesson 2.4, writing linear functions. We're going to use slope-intercept form and point-slope form to write our linear functions. Remember in the last lesson, we learned that the slope-intercept form was form y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is its y-intercept. Okay, we also graph lines given the slope and the y-intercept. This lesson we're going to be writing. So to write the slope-intercept form of an equation of a line. So given the line, first thing you want to do is identify the y-intercept, and that's where it crosses the y-axis. And it is b, so b equals that point. We know that its x is 0, so b equals 2. Or you might want to just write it like so. Finding the slope, then we know slope is rise over run. This graph is in a descending downhill, so it's coming from left to right downhill, so we know it's going to be negative. And counting spaces, it's coming down 2 and to the right 5, or up 2 and to the left 5. And then we just write it in mx plus b form. There's my m, and there's my b. Okay, you go ahead and try this one. Right, doing this one, you should have found that the y-intercept was 3. The slope is an uphill from left to right, so it's positive. It's going up 3 and over 4. So y equals 3/4 x plus 3. We can just find slope if we want to find slope between 2 points, if it's not already graphed. Given 2 points, we find slope from the slope formula, which is the difference in the y's, y2 minus y1, over the difference in the x's, x2 minus x1. So the first thing you want to do when you're trying to find the slope of a line that passes through 2 points is identify x1, y1, x2, y2, and then just put it into your formula, which I'm not going to rewrite. You can look at up there. y2 is 2, y1, it's minus, is negative 2, x2 is negative 1, x1 is 3. Minus a negative is the same as plus a positive, so 2 plus 2 is 4. And negative 1 minus 3 is the same as plus negative 3, so that's negative 4. So my slope is negative 1. When you're given a set of values, you just find an x1, y1, and an x2, y2 out of the set of data. You can choose any 2 points. I'm just going to go ahead and choose the first 2. So I'm going to call this one x1, that y1, and this x2, y2. So my slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Subtract 6 minus 1 is 5. 5 minus 2 is 3. So it's 5 over 3. You want to make sure if it is not in the most reduced form that you do that. And from a graph, you may note that that is a vertical line. If you don't know the slope of a vertical line, you still have to do 2 points. Identify one as x1, y1, x2, y2. Either point can be x1, y1. Does not matter. Okay, so then my slope formula says I take y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So you get 0. Or you could have said it was a vertical line and m equals 0 without showing me work. Oh, undefined, I'm sorry. Division by 0. Undefined or no slope. Okay, you have 2 to try. Okay, hopefully with the first one you chose 2 pair of coordinates. Doesn't matter which ones you chose. Y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. You do end up with a slope of 1, whatever you have chosen. In the second one, you have the y coordinates are the same, so you actually end up with 0 over negative 5, and 0 divided by anything is 0. 0 divided by anything is 0. We have one more thing that we want to do in this lesson, or this part. Because the slope of the line is constant, you can use any point on the line and the slope of the line to write an equation. And we use what's called point slope form. Y minus the y coordinate of the point equals the slope times the quantity x minus the x coordinate of the point. So we're given some data. First thing we need to do is find the slope. So indicate an x1, y1 and an x2, y2. I'm going to choose these here in the middle that do not have decimals. So I'm choosing those 2 coordinates, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So there's my m. Okay? I'm going to show you 2 methods, one using the point slope form and one using the slope intercept form to find our equation. So using point slope form, now we need to have a point. So I'm going to choose my x1, y1 is my point, and my m is negative 1/4. And it's y minus y sub 1 equals the slope times x minus x sub 1. If we recall, 1 is the same as 4 over 4, right? This is the same as 4 over 4. So 4/4 minus 1/4 is 3/4. Okay, so that's one way you could do that. Or you could use the slope-intercept form. Using the slope-intercept form, you have to find B. Oops, undo that. I wanted a highlighter, sorry. We're going to find B. Still using that same point that I used before. I put y is 1. My slope is negative 1/4. My x is negative 1. And B is what I'm looking for. Isolate B by subtracting 1/4. Once again, I have the same thing, 1 minus 1/4, or 4/4, minus 1/4 is 3/4. So you end, and then you substitute back into your original equation, having just putting in the m and the b. Now you try it. In the first one, I did it both ways for you. If you use point-slope form, you substitute in the 3 for the y sub 1, negative 5 for m, and 1 for x sub 1. Distribute, and then you have to make sure you add 3 to both sides, and you end up with y equals negative 5x plus 8. If you solve for b, your y is 3, your m is negative 5, your x is 1, and you're solving for b. So again, you're going to add 5 to both sides, end up with b equals 8, and then you still substitute into y equals mx plus b. Second one, you have to find slope first. And then it does not matter which point you use. You can use the first one or the second one. And again, you could have used y equals mx plus b for that. Either way, you should get y equals 2x plus 1.